Hey beautiful people, if you're Hey beautiful people, if you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome to the family. Hope you stay. So lovely to have you. In today's video, I thought it would be quite fun and actually like beneficial to go over how to revise effectively and what I do personally to revise and what I regret at GCSE level, and yeah, just ways that you can kind of benefit your revision so that you're not just revising but nothing's actually going in your little noggin. So if you need the help with revision or you just want to watch a video, stay, grab a cuppa and maybe even some chocolate biscuits and join me. Right, number one, flashcards. This looks a little bit excessive, but trust me, for my first 2 exams for my BTEC as well as all of my GCSEs, I made flashcards, and as you can tell they are all colour coded as well. Colour coding is the best. If you kind of have a visual memory, colour coding it, you can think, oh, blue, that is so and so topic. So for me, blue is diffusion, and then I could go, oh, green, what's green? Green is fuels. So yeah, no, colour coding your flashcards is amazing, as well as just flashcards, you know, by themselves, because there's so many things you can do with flashcards. So the way that I tend to lay them out is to write a question on the front. So this one, it says, why is diffusion passive? And then on the back it's got the answer, so it's like no energy input needed. So you can kind of look and be like, oh, I don't know, and then look at the back and be like, oh, that's it. Yeah, or you could go more detail and try test yourself and be like, okay, why is diffusion passive? And kind of try to figure out the answer and then check the answer on the back. That has saved me so many times, especially with like sciences, remembering English poems for GCSEs, things like that. This is incredibly useful. The other thing is to categorize them. So even though they are color categorized, so say we're doing it's a blue day, we're doing blue, so we'll go through your cards and be like, why is diffusion passive? I don't know. So you'd put that in the I don't know pile. And then this one, diffusion and surface area, and then it's got the surface area increased area diffusion occurs, increased rate of diffusion, you get it, so on and so forth. But say, oh, I knew that, oh my gosh, I got that right. That would be in a I know it pile. And then you'd go through all of them with this I don't know and I know pile. And then what you want to do is when you revise, you want to revise the ones in the I don't know pile every other day, and then the ones in the I know pile only once a week. And then if you're like, oh, I knew that but now I don't know it, it then goes into the I don't know pile. If it's the opposite, if you're like, I didn't know that but now I'm remembering it, it can go into the I know pile. And basically just doing this then triggers your memory, because it's more like a game, and you know, games are more enjoyable, so people are more likely to remember that than just writing it down and reading off the back. Even though it does have its benefits, it's not the most beneficial. So that is flashcards. Also, doing flashcards with friends is amazing, because one of you can write the question and then the other one can like be like, oh, let's see if I can remember the answer. And then when you don't remember the answer, you can then Google it and then write it down, and then obviously vice versa with like your other friend. Testing your friends on them, honestly, they are my lifesaver, my love. If I can marry flashcards, I would. The second most important thing is to track your learning, because binders, right, it looks disgusting. I've tried to decorate it. It's not me, it's not my vibe, it's dark, it's boring. To get a funky binder, because you'll see it and you'll be like, oh my god, it's funky, I want to like funk it up a little bit more, and then you'll like be more inclined to do like pretty stuff. I've done it anyway, kind of. I'll go into more detail though. So what you want to do is you want to have it sectioned. So you can see here I've got all of my little sections here, and this is for biology, this is chemistry, this is physics, but they're all kind of then subcategorized by organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, practicals, stuff like that. So then you can kind of, you know, subcategorize them, categorize them, because then it's just easier to find stuff when you're revising. I always say that if you're taking notes, what I used to do when I started my BTEC was that I would just write messy notes, and then when I get home I would write them all up neat, which is good if you're just, you know, colleging, just at, you know, secondary, high school. When you've got a job and a social life and college and thinking about going to uni or applying to uni, prepping for uni, doing all of the workload twice is extortionate. It's an insane amount of work for you to do, and then you'll probably end up burning out, because I mean, girl, that's what I did. So write your notes pretty first time round, and then, or the other thing I do, so I either, if it's like a sit down, you know, they're just, the teacher, the lecturer is just talking the whole time, I will be typing. So I'll just like type everything they're saying, and then I can write that into a pretty piece of paper on, say, a college break or a school break or uni break, wherever you are, because then you're typing to writing. It's not as bad as writing messy, then trying to figure out what you've written to then write up neat, and it's just effort. So yeah, typing and then writing is acceptable. Writing messy and then writing neat is a total waste of time, because 9 times out of 10 you will not recognise what you've written, and then you'll be confused and you'll Google it anyway, so there's no point. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to do a little, that's so cute, that's not meant to be in there, but that's so cute, a little ooh. A little binder tour. That is like the saddest thing I've ever said, but yeah, if you're doing a science, even though you probably will have graph paper accessible to you, get your own graph paper and put it in the front of your binder, because drawing graphs is fun and it actually kind of like makes you do something. It's not just writing, you're thinking. So having graph paper there kind of engages you, being like, oh, let's draw a graph. But then you can like kind of link the graph to something you need to revise, and it's just, yes, slay. Anyway, so my first section of my binder, I feel like I need to have this on my lap, it's too big. There we go. Okay, so the first section of my binder is briefs. That is it. It's assignment briefs. Because I'm doing a BTEC, the main thing I need is assignment briefs. So I kind of put these at the front because, you know, they are just kind of cute, you know, just my assignment briefs, diagrams. Yeah. If you are doing a BTEC or any sort of coursework, highlight everything. Not everything, but like all the important things, because then you can like kind of tick it off as you go, and it's not so, oh my gosh, like overwhelming. Then also create a check sheet on the back of it, and then kind of mark how easy you think things are going to be, and then go from red to green, because then you're doing all of the difficult stuff first. You slowly get into the easier things, so you're more likely to finish it on a high and get a good grade, rather than doing all the easy stuff first and being like, I am slaying, and then you get to the end and you're like, geez, I can't do this. And then you ended up getting a bad grade. So annotate, check sheets, massive go-to for me. As well as that, creating diagrams, because I know that you can go onto Google, you can print off diagrams and stuff, but are you going to remember that? Probably not. And if you're an artiste like myself, creating diagrams, they're probably not the nicest diagrams to show on the internet, but they're the only diagrams I have, so yeah, so you're just gonna have to deal with seeing these diagrams. But drawing, labeling your own diagrams is gonna kind of ingrain it into your head, because you're doing it, you're putting in the work, you're colouring it. My first section, and honestly, biggest advice to anyone is to do that. Also, make sure that your binder is big enough, because mine is not. I should probably split this into 2 binders, but like one for year 1, one for year 2. Do I have the time and patience to do that now when I have 2 months left? Absolutely not. But if you are starting out at A-levels, or you're starting out at GCSEs, so year 10, year 11, make sure you have enough binders before, so that you can proper categorise everything and it's proper worth it. Yes. Section number 2, I actually have nothing in anymore. Section number 2 for me was my theory. So if there were like words and stuff I didn't understand, I would write the words down like throughout the lesson, and then in my free time I'd go and I would revise those words. So then instead of revising whole topics, you can revise certain words, and then those certain words will then stick in your mind. And if you're reading like a practice paper and it's like, how does respiration benefit a human? I don't know, that was so random. But then you can be at respiration. I know what respiration means. There we go. And then you can answer the question instead of having to memorise the whole thing. Obviously it doesn't work with everything, but when you look through practice paper, like past papers and stuff, which is another, do it. Like, if I can say one thing to all of you, look through past papers, because they're my saviour. Yeah, section number 3 and 4 were past papers, which I have done the exams for, so they are now empty. Thing is kind of printing out diagrams that you can colour in. So this was for a biology topic, but I basically printed out all of the diagrams that I needed to memorise and just coloured them in, because you can put your music on, you can jam out, you can colour. It doesn't really seem like work, yet you technically are revising, because you're colouring it all in, you're having to look at the diagram, and so if nothing, you memorise the diagram. But it's also labelled, so if you look at the labels, you can be like, oh my gosh, the common hepatic duct even is blue. I'm going to remember the colour blue for that. And then remembering a colour, again, especially for me, helps so much. So yeah, print off colouring sheets and like colour them like proper bold colours, like colours you like. Not like that, because I did not remember this and they are pretty dull. Whereas there's some that I coloured really kind of bold. It's like this. That's the sympathetic nervous system. This is the parasympathetic, I think. That's gonna be wrong now, isn't it? No, I think that's right. I'm questioning myself now. But yeah, this one I remembered when I went into my exam, got the marks for it. Section 5 for me is then going into actual work. And the one thing that I did before any of my exams was create a poster. This one's unfinished, it's probably the worst one to show. But what you want to do is you want to write all your topics down and summarise them into like half a page each. This is separation techniques. It's got like crystallization, filtration, blah 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 blah. Not that you guys want to know. But yeah, summarise the whole topic onto half a bit of paper, and then it's less for you to memorise. A practice paper. So this is actually a practice paper from when I did GCSEs. But I kept it, and God, am I so happy I kept it, because this came up in one of my BTEC exams, and because I had the practice paper, I was like constantly scrolling through my binder, looking at it, being like, oh, I need to get rid of that. But whilst I was thinking that, I was actually looking through it, and again, because it's highlighted, it is stuck in my noggin, and I ended up remembering it in the exam. So don't throw away your work from GCSE if you're going to be studying it at A level, because you're going to need it. There's probably like 80-85% chance you're going to need that work still, so keep hold of it until you definitely know you're not going to need it anymore. You can draw a diagram for anything. Draw a diagram, it will stay in your brain longer, you're using more brain power, you know, it's going to remain there. And a lot of this is just kind of note taking. This is another thing I did, is any lessons that you find really confusing, print off the whole lesson of slides, or just like the main slides from that lesson, so that you can quickly flick through it. Because even if your presentation that your lecturer does is on Google Slides, or they have a Google Classroom or something like that set up, you're going to need the Wi-Fi to scroll through it. So if you're at home, amazing. If you're, you know, at your place of study, uni, college, secondary, should be fine, because you're going to have that Wi-Fi. But if you're just out and about, or you're staying over and you don't have the Wi-Fi, this is a lifesaver. There we go, another amazing thing. When you are studying a topic, so for me it was the heart and the main body functions, I obviously drew a diagram. Typical me, it helps to memorise it. The more you draw it out, the more you write it out, the more you're going to remember it. At the end of it, do a quiz based on something that is known to come up. So after doing all of my key bodily functions and key kind of body things, so like the heart, the brain, stuff like that, I found a quiz kind of relating to it, but then also being quite specific. So I found an epilepsy quiz, which is to do with like the brain and stuff, and to do that and see how many you get right, because I don't know, it helped me. So if it helps me, it's bound to help someone else. Everything in here is very, you know, print off, write out, make sure you keep absolutely everything. The next revision topic I would suggest is, if you don't like proper writing, write everything on post-it notes, because they're stuck on here now because I don't need them anymore, but I don't want to get rid of them. Is to write everything into little post-its and stick them around your room. If you know that the morning of your exam you need to open your makeup drawer to do your makeup, stick one on your makeup drawer, because then you will look at it whilst you're doing your makeup. Oh, you're going to need to go to the fridge to get a drink. Stick a post-it note on the fridge. When you open the fridge, you'll see the post-it note, you'll read it, you'll remember it. Not many people make such a big fuss about post-it notes, but I think they are legendary because they can be messy. Is the main kind of This is why you need to make sure that your binder is big enough, because mine is not and it doesn't look very nice. Amazing. So I'm just going to quickly, before this gets too long, I'm going to run over some things that I regret. The biggest thing being that I didn't revise soon enough, and if I could go back I would revise from the day I started, and I'd write down notes. I would start creating flashcards after every lesson, because even though you'll get loads of flashcards, that's more to revise and you're bound to remember more. So revise from this, or even prep your revision from the start of your course, because I needed to do that and I didn't. So if this is my big sister advice, do it, please do it. Having a whiteboard is also something I really wish I had, because similar to the post-it notes, you can quickly scribble all of your notes onto it, not worrying about what it looks like because you're just going to rub it off. But it's a quick kind of, I've got 15 minutes before I need to leave the house. What can I do? Let's sit down with my whiteboard, write down a couple of notes, rub it off, go. Like, it's so quick that I wish that I had that, but I didn't know that, or it didn't even clock in my head that I could do that until I saw someone on TikTok doing it. So if I do find that TikTok, I will link it below because it's extremely helpful. And then the biggest thing, biggest thing that I regret is not having me time, not having that time to recuperate, going from college to coursework to revision to work constantly and not having a day to yourself to recuperate. That then has a massive effect. You stop remembering everything from work, everything from your coursework, everything from revision. Then your exams rock up and you're just so stressed that you don't remember anything, even though you did revise. So making sure that you do have that chill time and that recuperation time is kind of essential. Like, the human is a human, like, you need to chill, you need to treat yourself, you need to look after yourself as well. So even though it doesn't sound relevant, it's so relevant. Give yourself that recuperation time, because you'll need it more than you think you'll need it. So recuperate, sleep well, eat well. That comes with when, like, the night before exams as well. Revise a little bit, don't revise everything. Revise the things that you're really struggling with. Get an early night, make sure you've eaten dinner. I've said this in the wrong order. But yeah, no, make sure that you've eaten dinner, that you've had an early night, and then when you wake up in the morning, have a shower, detox yourself, recite, like, speak some of the things that you've revised whilst you're in the shower. When you're out the shower, maybe listen to a podcast or something relating to a subject whilst you're getting ready. So you're just kind of briefly listening to it. So some stuff may go in, but you're not kind of, oh my god, I need to revise. You're just listening to someone speaking, which is similar to being kind of in a lecture. Yeah, so it's more likely to kind of stay in your brain short term. And then when you get to your exam setting, so your exam hall, wherever you take exams, to make, so as I said earlier, there was a big poster sheet that I made for every subject. So say if I was going into a chemistry exam, I brought my big poster with me. And obviously you can't bring it into the room with you, but you can put it in your bag and put your bag in, like, the locker or wherever it needs to go. And whilst you're waiting to go in, go through and just skim read everything. Anything that you're struggling with more, pay more attention to. But yeah, that massive poster at the exam room will save you. It really will. Yeah, they are my big top tips. So I really do hope that they do help. If you have any more questions, head over to my Instagram. And yeah, good luck everyone. I know exams start in a couple of months, so massive good luck to you all. I hope that you all smash it out the park. You will do amazing, which I'm sure you will do now that you've watched my amazing video. Yeah, if you enjoyed this and you'd like to join the family, make sure that you're subscribed with your notification bell turned on. Make sure you like this video, and if you have stuck around all the way to the end, comment "that's peachy" in in the comment section. I will see you guys sometime soon. Mwah!